What's up, babies? Today we're taking a look at SHEHDS 350 watt Leko. This is their more theater designed light. It is LED. It can change from cool to warm lights. You can control it all with the screen on the back. You can DMX control it, 3 to 7 channels. This is an interesting light. As far as DJs are concerned, I don't think it's incredibly interesting. Or at least I didn't when I first was approached about it by SHEHDS. I straight up told them, I was like, I don't think this is something that I'm going to be able to use in the wild. So I'll do like a review of it in the office, but that's about all I can do. But the more I think about it, the more I think that there is something that we can do with these. But let's dive into the details on it first real quick. So this is clearly much bigger and very different than any light that, in my experience, wedding DJs normally use. On a week-to-week basis, we're using uplighting, we're using moving heads, maybe using some tube lighting, other things like that. Pretty simple, just like par LED stuff, right? Nothing like this, because we don't like to rig. So it has the option to rig, from top down. I, in my demo video, decided to use a stand and mount it this way instead. I just remember in the theaters, kids like chasing people with spotlights, So that's the way I thought about it. But this is a fairly big light. This comes in at, what is it? 7.55 kilos. So that is about 17 pounds, 16 and a half pounds, something like that. So it's pretty big. As far as measurements, we got 55 by 35 by 32 centimeters, which, America. So we are about 20 inches. This is, I guess if you go from the bar, it's about 21 inches long. We got about 10 inches wide and then about 9 inches tall. At its highest point, maybe a little bit more because of this guy. But if you do add the shutters, right? So you slip these guys on the front, of course, limiting your spread a little bit while keeping the brightness up. That's going to change the size of it a little bit, but I guess it depends on on what you're using it for. So, what could we use this for? Ceiling dress applications, I would say. It's tough though, because there's no slot to put any sort of gobo in or anything to change kind of how it looks. The lens is, has this rippledness to it, and of course has like a little diffusion in there with some air bubbles, I guess. I don't know. Is there like a term for that? But it's not like crystal clear lens, no gobo slot. It's a pretty traditional light in that it uses the, what's the word for it? Body and lens separation, right? So it's not as much of like a digital manipulation of the light as it is like a zooming in and out, which I guess internally, no, I didn't break this thing open. But you can see just through this top ventilation that there is a little fan that does kick on. It's not just permanently on. Depends on the temperature. So a little heat sink in there just to kind of vent it out a little bit. In this small room, when it was kicking for a while, yeah, the thing kicked on because it got pretty warm in here. But I don't specifically remember it being overly loud or anything like that. So again, how can we use this though? Like, how can we use this? Yeah, we can, dress some ceilings. I just feel like looking forward, a lot of people are going to try and go for a more traditional vibe, like a more classic vibe for their weddings. I've been seeing it happen anyway. You see the Roaring 20s parties, people kind of trying to bring back that old feel where they didn't have LED lights that could change from red to purple to green, So there's maybe some application for it. Maybe you want it to look a little more classical, but I think for the price, this thing is a lot of bang. A lot of bang. It is incredibly bright. You can see in the early video how I kind of was blasted back by it. It's got some auto features on it, which I demonstrated a little bit. I'm not sure how we would use that, but maybe as, like dancing comes on, to have the option to just use a DMX controller and switch it to like exploding. Just to add if you are having some colored lighting with everything else too. Yeah, I think that they could make a fun light and at an affordable rate, super bright, and just really, it's not overly big, but you definitely need a van to be moving a couple of these things if you're still using all the other gear. So Yeah, built-in controls on the back, DMXable. It does come, of course, with PowerCon power. You have an in and an out here on the rear, and then you get a fun little DMX cord too. So just the same stuff that you normally see when you purchase a light like this. But with all that said, of course, a shout out to SHEHDS for reaching out to me and for letting me do a little unboxing, even though I told them that I don't know if this is me. But I think that we have to open our minds to everything and think about maybe a way that we can use these lights. And, you know, as previously mentioned, I think there's some options for us looking down the road. I realize that was all a big mouthful. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you can do me a favor, if you did learn anything about this, or if you have any questions or comments about Lekos or something I said wrong, drop me a comment below. And if you could, just a quick little click of the like button and the subscribe button. It helps me out a ton, especially heading into these colder months. I really appreciate it. But that's it from me. Thanks so much for checking out the video and for checking out this sweet Leko light. Thanks, SHEHDS. Catch you next time.